Well, we had this fear. We talked about this yesterday, last week, this, that, and the other. Matt Hennessy is going on season-ending IR. And that's kicking the phenoblies for a couple of reasons, okay? Look, we figure right now Matthew Bergeron is going to be now the de facto starter, okay? But I've talked about this on the show, on previous podcasts. What I'm not excited by is he has to be thrust in and we have to force him in, and that's how he's got to learn how to play guard. Because that was a disaster with Jalen Mayfield. Taking him from another position, plopping him in because of an injury, and all of a sudden we had to roll with it. And I don't like this at all. And my thing is, go get a guard. I don't care where you find him. Again, we just signed the defensive player of the year in the USFL. Go find a guy, a veteran or somebody. Just what my fear is, and maybe Bergeron may end up being first team all NFL at guard. Okay. My fear is, though, we're forcing this on everything. And we're not left with any options. Kyle Hinton could play guard. That's not really a very good option, when all is said and done. But it's probably Bergeron's job to lose at this point. And that's the thing I have concerns about. I don't know where you find him. That's what, again, this is what Terry Fontenot's specialty is. Find free agents or guys in the NFL that can play. Not even so much college. His big thing was find capable NFL players to come into your franchise and succeed. That's what he was doing in New Orleans. Because, again, I have my concerns about forcing Matthew Bergeron into a situation, and we're going right back down the same road that we went with Jalen Mayfield, where injuries dictated Mayfield played out of position and was forced in and had to do what he had to do. And I know Bergeron's a good athlete and all standing there, but again, I wanted him to learn on his own time. I want him to get acclimated on his own. I wanted him to grow into that position and eventually take it over as a starter. I'm not saying he can't be the starter eventually for this team. I just don't like the idea of, okay, we got to force him in there now. And that's where we're at right now. It sucks for, Hennessy, because, again, if nothing else, that would have provided good competition. And at least, again, now, am I excited about the idea that I would have Matt Hennessy and Drew Dahlman side by side? No, I wasn't excited about that proposition. And certainly Bergeron's got the physicality and the size and everything like that. He's the bigger bodied guy, but he doesn't have the experience. And that's my concern. You can be as physical and dominant and all this kind of stuff, but if you don't have the experience and guys are taking advantage of you, not knowing, where to play. And again, people are like, oh, well, he'll be fine. This isn't beer league softball, folks. I know a lot of you out there in listener land think that this is, well, my buddy's been playing center field in our beer league softball. I've got an injury, a guy hurt. We'll just plug him in at third base and we'll just roll right along. And then you all go out for wings and beer afterward. Not like that in the NFL. And yes, tackle to, again, use Jalen Mayfield. He was a tackle who ended up playing guard and was the worst interior offensive lineman in the NFL. Do I think Matthew Bergeron's going to be the worst interior offensive lineman? No, I don't think that. But I think that the idea of forcing him in because we have injuries and we don't have a better option, I hope that they learned from Jalen Mayfield. Even if you have to work Bergeron in over the first month of the season or what have you, that's a better option than game one, plug him right in, and he doesn't look back and hope for the best. Take that $9 or $10, $11 million that the Falcons have to spend and go out and find me somebody to be a guard. I'm not looking for an all-pro. Again, We went to the Super Bowl with Chris Chester playing guard. But we also, that year, made a trade to bring Andy Levitre in, who was a pretty good guard. Make a trade. Sign somebody. Don't let this be the thing that hinders this team. I know Bergeron, with the style of offense that they have and what they're going to ask him to do, is probably going to be put in a more successful situation than what Jalen Mayfield was asked to be in. Because Matt was going to huck it around 600 times. And maybe that will be the difference out of all of this. But what my fear is that you're asking another guy to jump into a position and it's Jalen Mayfield all over again. Not from an ability standpoint, but from the idea of Mayfield was forced into play guard because of injury at a position that he had never played before. That's the same thing that you're asking Bergeron. You're asking him to go down the same exact rabbit hole that Jalen Mayfield had to go on. And like I said, maybe Bergeron will pick this thing up and everything will be fine. But I don't want anything to derail this team, and certainly not derail the ability for Desmond Ridder to be a good quarterback, because he's going to end up with guys staring down his, ear hole. I don't want that for him. So again, go get me a guard. Get me somebody who can play. Get me somebody, trade, make a move, do something. Take our cap space and go get me a guy, Terry. I know he can do it. He could probably make a trade, but let's make sure that we don't go into another season where we're forcing a guy to have to play and start all year long because of injury who might not be ready. I'm going to expect that we're going to see a big dose of Bergeron coming up tomorrow night against the Bungles when the starters are going to play, and we'll see what life in the NFL looks like for these guys. But again, it's not beer league softball. Your normal center fielder goes and plays third for a night. It doesn't work like that in the NFL. It's not that easy. You can go out for chicken wings and beer after the game, and it's, oh, well. It's not like that in the NFL. Hated for Hennessy, but now we'll see what happens as Bergeron is probably being the de facto starter for this team. All right, as you listen in to Hittin' Hard, we want you to make sure that you go into whatever podcast platform that you're listening on. Let us know you're an everyday listener to the program. So we call them our everydayers. We thank you so much for being a part of our community, but let us know that you listen in 5 days a week into the show.